everyone. My name is Carol Kujek, co-author, along with Peyton Goddard, of the middle grade novel Real by Shadow Mountain Publishing. We're very excited that Real is a Junior Library Guild Gold Standard selection. Peyton will be joining us in a few moments to share her wisdoms as well. The story was inspired by the true life story of my co-author Peyton Goddard. I met Peyton about 14 years ago when I was writing a freelance article for the University of San Diego Alumni Magazine. I was writing about their influential Autism Institute, and I asked the head of the institute, a very prominent professor, if she could connect me with a local family that I could interview who has benefited from their research and their work. And she said, "I have just the family for you." It was really a life-changing experience meeting Peyton and hearing her words for the first time, watching her type and the effort that it took to communicate. And I was struck immediately by her poetic use of language.
You've been typing to introduce yourself and the book. Can you introduce yourself? Tell them I'm Peyton Goddard. Yes, welcome. You wrote, "Hi, I'm Peyton Goddard. I'm pleased, hoping you'll greet our charity, with your heart open to golden possibilities." Golden possibilities. Well said, Bay. Well said. Here, let's put that back and see if you have any more to write. H O P I H O P I N G. Hoping. Y O
You.
Hoping you.
Peppy.
Peppy. Peppy. Hoping you. Peppy.
Poignantly.
Poignantly. Like. Peppy poignantly like. Peppy poignantly like. REAL.
Real.
We're so happy to be here with you today, virtually. Real tells the story of a girl with non-speaking autism who faces the social and learning challenges of attending public school for the first time. It's inspired by the true story of my co-author Peyton Goddard, and it allows readers to see autism through the eyes of its main character, Charity. Though she is non-speaking, the reader hears her thoughts, and they know what's going on inside her active mind. Because Charity has no way to communicate, it creates an environment of isolation. Most people don't understand her behavior and they react negatively to it. For this reason, she's excluded from the learning and social environments that are so important to our health and development. We called the book Real because before she could communicate, my co-author Peyton felt herself less and less like a real person as isolation and abuse robbed her of hope for a better life. Our main character, Charity, for 13 years, has had no way to tell other people what she wants or how she feels. Things we take for granted every day. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm hungry. I'd rather have pepperoni pizza than soggy cheese pizza. Like many people with autism, she cannot always control her body movements. Standing still is scary for her. Her body craves movement to feel at peace, so she's in constant motion. To other people, it might look like she's being rude or disruptive, and it makes people mad at her or want to get away from her. It's amazing in our society how we have such a narrow view of what's labeled acceptable behavior, especially for kids. Imagine how many kids are labeled because they can't sit still in a movie theater or pay attention while reading. What are they called? Stupid, spoiled, badly behaved? Many kids with autism also have movement disorders. Like Charity, they don't have full control over their body. They need to be in motion to feel at peace. And sometimes people link movement disorders with intellectual disability, but there's no logical reason for that. If we look at the brilliant Stephen Hawking, for example, he could not control his body, but his disability did not affect his mind. So why do we assume that of so many kids? Yet almost everyone assumes that Charity is incapable of learning or socializing. Because of her autism, Charity sometimes has a heightened sense of sounds or smells as being too intense, and she describes this as feeling attacked. She calls these kettle explosions because she feels like a tea kettle that's about to boil over and explode. A lot of people view Charity with pity, which can almost be involuntary and seem kind. But through Charity's eyes, we see how being pitied makes her feel worthless. Pity puts one person above another, looking down at them. We learn that just feeling sorry for someone does not help them. Charity will show us what does help, though. I asked Peyton this question as well. Instead of feeling sorry for someone, what's a better way to help them?
All right. Okay, great. You're writing this message. It says, best in both me and you is wherever I am epitome valuable as you sweetly are. Nurturing understanding and pure support of each. Can you finish that sentence? Or sentences? Of each. Of each. O. T.
Other.
Of each other. Go ahead. F. R. E. E. S.
Freeze.
Freeze. J.
Jolly.
Jolly. Well said. Jolly.
Joy.
Jolly. Joy.
In.
In.
All.
In. All.
Our character Charity sees all the stares. She hears all the whispers. So she comes to think that her name means she's a charity case. The longer she is isolated, the less she feels like a real person. She compares herself to Pinocchio, a wooden puppet who longs to be real. What makes someone feel real? Belonging, participating, having friends, joining in, having a voice, being heard. She has none of that. Charity's parents fight for her to finally be transferred to a public school. She's excited, but she's also nervous. She's worried that her erratic movements and her outbursts might get her into trouble. And they do. After a few outbursts, she's on the verge of being transferred out to an even more restrictive special ed school. That's when she has a breakthrough. Her teacher calls in an educator from a local college to try a typing technique with Charity. To everyone's astonishment, Charity types her first ever full sentence, I am intelligent. This scene closely mirrors the real-life breakthrough of my co-author Peyton Goddard. Lots of people tell us that they get goosebumps when they hear that story. It reminds them of the breakthrough moment that Helen Keller experienced when she first learned to communicate with sign language. One of our discussion questions at the end of the book asks readers, why do you think Charity typed this as her first sentence, I am intelligent? What difference might this make in how she is treated? And what would your first sentence be if you were in her place? We often rank students based on standardized tests of intelligence. It's almost like a measure of self-worth. And that's why Peyton and Charity led with those words. I am intelligent in our world often equates to I am valuable. But that's not the message of our book. As Peyton teaches us, there are wisdoms in all people. If someone's intelligence cannot be measured in standard ways, that does not make them less valuable or less worthy of being included. Being heard is what makes Charity feel real. In fact, being able to communicate completely changes Charity's life. Even though communication for Charity and for Peyton requires intense effort. She types on a keyboard with support, with one finger, and has to use all her energy to keep her body and mind focused on what she wants to say, one letter at a time. With communication, Charity starts to establish the building blocks of relationships. As her classmates spend more time with her, better understanding leads to greater acceptance and even friendship. We hope the story of Charity's journey shows what it's like to be different and that being different is okay. We all have differences, thank goodness, right? Regardless of the label society or even a clinical diagnosis put on us, everyone wants to belong. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. We have a downloadable tips for inclusion for teachers and kids, and some of the tips are dramatized in the story as classmates and teachers find ways for Charity to participate. The special ed room, for example, is called the EPIC room, EPIC, which stands for Every Person is Capable. Kids in the EPIC room value Charity right away. They talk to her instead of talking about her. Kids include her in class groups. Her new friends invite her to a school dance. And Charity's dad arranges for her to join the school's basketball team. At first, Charity is upset about this. How can she possibly control her body to move in the direction of a bouncing ball? That's when one teammate offers the kindness of holding her hand and pulling her in the right direction during the game. And this is based on real-life examples. And this kindness leads to Charity really contributing to the team. Teachers in the story find ways to include Charity. They support her need to move her body, keeping her hands busy with fidgets or puzzles. Peyton herself, when she was attending college, would put together 300-piece puzzles at the back of the room so her mind could focus on the lecture while her hands were busy. Teachers in the story value Charity's participation and allow her the time to type her comments. As I mentioned, typing with one finger and an uncooperative body is slow, and that takes time. So teachers simply need to give her that time, show that they value what she's going to say. This is a middle school, so of course there's drama. A few of the kids bully Charity, thoughtlessly or even intentionally. Some kids say unkind things right in front of her, thinking she can't understand them. Someone posts mean things on social media. Other kids make noises in class that they know will bother her sensitive ears. And one girl feels threatened that Charity is getting too much attention. But Charity herself finally realizes that this girl is hurting too. And she says, bullies sprout from their own sadness. And what is bullying? Isn't exclusion a form of bullying? So really, Charity has been bullied her entire life by being excluded from the activities of so-called normal kids. Things like dance class and soccer practice and even going to public school. Feeling valued and heard make Charity feel real. Feeling the love and support of her friends and teachers, Charity can finally calm her kettle explosions and find peace. And her new friends stick up for her when she's on the verge of being expelled. Peyton lived for 22 years with no voice. Even with a loving family to support her, she suffered exclusion, isolation, and abuse. She tells us, personally, I saw a life I'll never want to teach as acceptable for any human being. Peyton speaks of her isolation. She says, I daily went not to school, but to various institutions, defined by me as any place that all people are not included. As I mentioned, Peyton's breakthrough moment is reenacted in the book when Charity slowly types out, I am intelligent, to everyone's astonishment. Once Peyton found her voice, she shared her greatest wish. She told her parents, I want a real education. She attended Cuyamaca Community College in San Diego, and with the support of dedicated professors and staff, she became the first person using supported typing to graduate valedictorian from a U.S. college. Even before she could speak, Peyton made a vow in the silence of her heart that her mission would be to save other children the isolation and suffering that she endured. Writing this book is part of Peyton's mission. Peyton was 22 when she found her words. We made our main character 13 because they're the ones who can make a difference. We hope that by reading this book, kids will feel empowered. They will embrace this message of kindness, empathy, and inclusion. Peyton teaches us to value all people by presuming that each person has gifts to share, regardless of presumed intelligence. We hope kids see that by coming together, we can learn not to fear the differences in others or in ourselves. Being different is okay. That's a radical idea in middle school, right? Charity, the most different person in the book, comes to realize that her own differences are okay. I'm different, and that's okay. But Real invites everyone else to feel this magic as well. With rare exceptions, almost all the characters realize that there's difference in each person, and thank heavens. By having the opportunity to know the most different of persons and eventually realizing her awesomeness, kids no longer have to worry about being different themselves and being excluded. This magic can be felt by all who are willing to be open-hearted toward others, thereby freeing all hearts to know that everyone is welcome. No prerequisites, no qualifiers, no worries about hiding your true self for fear that you'll be rejected, because different is okay. As Peyton has said, in our society, difference is equated to fear and pity. It should equal love. It can be scary for kids to approach someone they see as different. Sometimes people assume that autistic kids don't want to or can't make friends. Peyton tells us that is false. Everyone needs friends. And I asked Peyton about this, how she would like new friends to approach her, and this is the advice that she shares.
It might not appear that I want to tease a dear conversation with you when we meet, but I longingly do. Yet I have no way, no way, without your open-hearted help. It poignantly is hard as we both trepidly conquer our jitters, and you say hi and ask if I'm okay, with you offering high five. This ignites keen, freeing joy in I by I'm worth you trying. Any more to write? I'm J-O-Y O-U J-O-Y-O-U
Joyous.
I'm joyous. I'm joyous. Come back.
If.
A little bit louder. Well said. If Y-O.
You.
What was that? If you
Try.
If you try. What was that sentence? I'm
Try.
try. How are you? I'm joyous if you
Try.
try.
We want to empower kids with this book. We hope the book opens hearts, creates awareness, and allows readers to walk in the shoes of Charity. She answers a question at the end of the book. What is it like to be you? Her reply, I cannot do many things that other people do, but I can open my heart. Can you? In the end, Charity realizes that her name has nothing to do with pity. Charity means open-hearted love for all humanity. The Bible says 3 things abide: faith, hope, and charity, and the greatest of these is charity or love. Peyton tells us that real is being loved. It is the quest of all. Thank you for listening. Please connect with us on social media. We would love to talk to your students. And please reach out to Shadow Mountain for school presentations. Thank you.